we looked at, from the state level, what some lever points could be to take us there. And we zeroed in on 4 major areas that I want to talk with you just briefly about tonight. And I'm going to zero in on certain parts of it that apply specifically to special ed. We first of all want to look at our learners. What are we doing differently for our learners than we've done previously? What support systems do we have in place to support children that might otherwise not be able to learn if we don't put those support systems in place? And just to tell you, and I know the staff in the back can share this, one of the first things we did back in January was totally reorganize the Department of Education. We had 26 different sections all functioning as if they were all individuals, and we've now condensed that into 3 sections. And in the support area, we've taken special education, federal programs, prevention and support services, all those things that provide support to children's learning so that we can leverage not only the programmatic pieces of it, but the physical parts of it, the budgetary parts of it, because we weren't being real strategic on how we connected those dots. A third piece are our professionals, the people who actually do this work, and I want to share a real strong emphasis there in a second. And then Alabama schools and systems. And what I mean there is thinking about school differently than a place or a thing controlled by time, which is defined what schools look like as long as we stick with the industrial model of schools. So a whole new way to look at schools. Let me share with you just from the learner standpoint. Here's what our state board has adopted as we move forward. All students perform at or above proficiency, and the new piece is, and show continuous improvement. So that has a direct bearing to our children with special needs, because even our most cognitively impaired students show growth every year. We need a system that acknowledges that and forces us to look at all those students to make sure that's happening. The second one seems awfully simple, but it's a new piece to this that we've never talked about before. All students succeed. All students. We have gaps between groups of students that goes undetected under the current No Child Left Behind AYP formula. And I can tell you, once we start looking at gap, you'll be surprised at some of the schools that have the largest gap. It's not the schools that you typically think of. Sometimes it's our more high-performing schools that have a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots. So this is going to give us an opportunity, not as a hammer, to list them and rank them, but really to shine a flashlight on that and what are we going to do to support it and make it happen. Every student graduates from high school. You know, we're under a new grad rate now that every child that enters 9th grade has to graduate in 4 years. I don't know what non-educator dreamed that up, but it goes against everything I believe about individualization and personalization of learning, because that assumes that everybody's on the same page in August and 4 years later they leave. But that's how every state now is judged in terms of grad rate. So we just have to own it. But I'm real pleased to say, and I'm going to share it with you in a minute, we're looking at taking all of our diploma options, including the AOD, which is beginning to lose its ability to be recognized in certain places, and have one diploma for the state of Alabama with multiple pathways for children to get there in a variety of ways, with equivalencies for different courses. That means career tech, our extended courses that are in special ed, all those can be under the umbrella of the Alabama High School Diploma, so special ed parents aren't fighting the battle that I was on the phone about this morning about a child with an AOD not being able to work in a DHR or child care unit, or being able to take the credit-based diploma and get into fire school. Everybody will get a diploma, and the reason we're doing that is when I met with all the admissions counselors to the 2-year and 4-year colleges, which had never been done before from K-12, which I found interesting as well. We'd never sat down with the people who get our people. I said, how many of you, when you're looking at their transcripts, look at their diploma option? Half of them didn't even know what I was talking about. They look at the coursework taken. So we have possibly done ourselves a disservice, not when we initiated it, however many years ago we put the AOD in place, we had to do something. But now we're at a place where we can have multiple pathways for kids to get there that will open lots of opportunities for special ed kids and all kids that weren't there before. It elevates career and technical education, to be equal with academic education. It acknowledges fine arts, all those things that have been pushed aside under No Child Left Behind.